everyone, and welcome back to Sonia's Prep. In this week's video, I'm going to take you along on a Shabbat prep when I'm actually home. I had a week off for President's Week, and this Shabbat I was home, so I had a little bit more time and I paced myself. So let's dive into the video and I'll show you all of these recipes and how I made everything. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed these types of videos, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here. Now let's get into all the recipes. Earlier in the week, I made a double batch of banana muffins. So here I am on a Friday morning using whatever I had left over from the beginning of the week so that we can have some nice fresh muffins for Shabbat. I'll have the recipe for you linked down below in the description box. Now that I know that something is being cooked in the oven, I take a few minutes and do a quick tidy up in my kitchen. You know that I love multitasking, so I try to have multiple things going on at the same time. This video may be a little bit hectic because this is how it is in real life. I try to do as much as I can in the time that I have because in just a few short hours, I know the kids will be back. So I'm going to just show you how I get everything done, how I clean up, and let's get started. Being home and prepping for Shabbat is something very different for me as I work full-time during the week. I just happen to have a few days off because of President's Week, and I am definitely savoring it, taking my time, and not feeling so super rushed like I normally would. If you want to see a Shabbat prep video of me doing Shabbat prep right after work, I'll have it all linked for you up above and below in the description box. I'm also going to be taking some time now and filling up our hot water urn so that we can make hot tea and coffee on Shabbat. So I try to have my station all set up with everything that I'm going to be using. So my soup pot is here, my osvo pot is here. I want to boil some string beans over there. Then I have my baking dishes here. I already lined a baking sheet with some parchment paper where I want to roast some of my vegetables. I'm going to make my chicken in this glass Pyrex here. This small blue one I'll have my salmon, and that larger blue one I'll have my I will have my rack of lit ribs. And so I just try to set everything up so that when I'm actually starting to prepare, everything can go by very, very smoothly. Earlier this morning, I did make my challah dough. This is a brand new recipe that a friend of mine shared with me. I can't wait to see how it's gonna turn out. So it's here rising and it's looking great. It actually only uses 1 tablespoon of yeast, which I'm so amazed by. It looks awesome. So if I really enjoy this recipe and I like it, I'll definitely make a video for you if you guys are interested. Let's see how it turns out first. So everything is ready and set to go. So I'm going to just take you along and show you how I'm going to be prepping for Shabbat while I'm staying at home from work. The kitchen is all nice and clean. The dishes are washed, and let's get ready. I had a little bit of string beans left over from the Shabbat prep salads that I filmed yesterday. It was such a good video. I hope you guys check it out if you want to get some salad inspirations for Shabbat. I'll have it linked up above and in the description box below. So with the leftover string beans, I love to just boil them a little bit, and my kids love snacking on them. As I'm waiting for the water to boil to drop in my string beans, I'm going to be taking the time to peel the carrots and potatoes to make my roasted vegetables with. Just as I drop in the string beans, my timer goes off, letting me know that the muffins are ready. So it's like a beautiful symphony of music, of things just happening all at once and getting things done. This definitely just comes with practice and timing. It doesn't always go as smoothly, of course, especially when the kids are home. It is definitely chaos and really, really loud. So I take the muffins out, put them on the side to cool off, and I continue prepping everything for my roasted vegetables. For the roasted vegetables here, I use an onion, red pepper, carrots, potatoes, and that's just my go-to side dish. It's great, it's delicious, it's quick to make. I just throw it in the oven and it's a no-brainer. The way that I cook my string beans is that as soon as I place them in the boiling water, I shut the fire off and I let them sit in the boiling water for 5 minutes, and then I rinse them off, and that is it. So for the roasted vegetables here, I'm going to be slicing everything up, placing it onto the tray. Got such positive feedback from all of you about this Misa knife that I showcased in last week's video, and I'll generally have anything that I'm using throughout a video linked in the description box below for you to see what I use in my kitchen. To the roasted vegetables, I add in a little bit of oil, salt, black pepper, and paprika. You can have your imagination run wild, add any seasonings of your choice. I mix everything well with my hands and place it in a 500-degree oven until they are nice and crispy on one side. Now moving right along into making our matzo ball soup. I have some chicken over here. I have a chicken breast and a chicken thigh that I will be spilling into the soup pot, and I'm gonna wait for that to boil. While that's happening, my son and I are going to be peeling and chopping up the vegetables that will go in it. I know, he's not supposed to be sitting on the kitchen counter doing this. I told him, but you know, kids, they don't always listen. I skim off some of the gunk that's on top of the chicken soup, and then I start to add in all of the vegetables. I have been loving adding some fresh dill into my soup broth. It just adds such a good flavor. I just do this all the time now, and all of the other vegetables that you saw me cut up. While that's going on, my roasted vegetables have crispened up on one side. I'm going to be using a spatula, flipping everything over and placing them back into the oven at 500 degrees for an additional around 6 to 10 minutes until they are nice and crispy on the other side. I'm going to be adding in a few bay leaves to the soup, some black pepper, about 2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 teaspoons of chicken consomme go into the soup pot. I let the soup cook for about an hour, and then I add in my matzo balls. So here now I have all of my, I guess, main meals. The fish is there, all set to go. I'll be just adding in white truffle oil. I prefer actually black truffle oil, but I didn't have any. Some salt and some fish spice will go in here. I'm gonna cover it up, place it in the oven. The chicken is going to just get some chicken seasoning, paprika, and oil. And these are the rack of ribs. They were on sale, so I just got them, and I'm going to be putting on a dry rub, and some sauce and placing it in the oven. This will all go in at 350 degrees. All will be covered and it'll go nice and slow until it's all ready. As you see, I do add water to the bottom of each tray because after cooking in the oven and then being reheated on our hot plates, because we don't use a regular stove top or oven on Shabbat because of religious reasons, I just feel like things can get dried out. So I prefer to add a little bit of water to each pan before Shabbat starts so that it can just lock in and seal in some of the moisture. Everything is cooked at 350 degrees. The fish usually comes out first after about 25 to 30 minutes. The chicken comes out next after about an hour to an hour and a half. And then the meat is there longer for about 2 hours. Now the fries have cooled off. I'm placing them in a more manageable tray that I can easily heat up on the hot plate for Shabbat. The challah dough has doubled in size and is ready for us to make our delicious challah with. You're going to see my son helping me out here. It was just the two of us home on this particular day, so we got to have a chance to do some good bonding. So he was here with me, just the two of us, making our challahs. We were just schmoozing, and he definitely had loads of fun to get to do this just one-on-one with mommy. The dough was actually perfect, so soft, as you can probably tell by the video, very elastic. Whenever it did stick a bit, I just sprayed some avocado oil that I had, and we had lots of fun braiding the challah dough. As you can see, Yoshua was very excited showing off his skills, so it was definitely very nice to do this with him. After braiding all the challahs, I did let them sit out for about 45 minutes, and then I egg washed everything with just one egg, and I placed it into a 350-degree oven for about 30 to 40 minutes until they were perfectly cooked. I will have this challah recipe in the description box below if you guys want to check it out. Midway through cooking, at about 15 to 20 minutes in, I do flip the trays from the bottom to the top and from the top to the bottom so that they get equally cooked on all sides. At this point, the banana muffins are completely cooled. I place them on this cake stand so I can serve them on Shabbat. Now it's time to make the matzo balls and drop them into the soup. At this time, I had the company straights. I usually like to use Goodman's, but truthfully, any brand will do. It's all about the way that you cook them. So I try to keep the soup pot going for at least an hour after I drop in the matzo balls because they absorb more fluid and they stay nice and fluffy. Before I dropped in the matzo balls, I did take out the chicken breast and the chicken thigh that I placed into the soup because I like to shred my chicken and place it back into the soup so that it's easy to serve and the kids just enjoy it that way better. There's no bones to pick out and it just makes for a nice and delicious soup. The star of the show here is definitely Hill making his little monkey faces. But here I am making my osvo. Osvo is a stew that we eat on Saturday for lunch. It basically gets cooked overnight for about 24 hours on a hot plate. And I made this a ton of time on my channel. It's basically some meat that goes into a pot with a little bit of oil and vegetables and an apple that I food process. So an onion, carrot, and tomato gets food processed, which is quick, takes less than a minute. And that goes into the pot as well with 2 cups of rice and about 4 cups of water. And it's just something that we enjoy having as one of our meals on Saturday for lunch. My kids have been begging me to make this fish for a while now. I haven't made it in a long time. It's basically flounder that is dipped in egg and some breadcrumbs. Into the egg mixture, I'm going to be placing in all of the seasoning, so salt, black pepper, and paprika. And to the other plate, I have the breadcrumbs here that I bought. So I'll be taking the flounder, cutting it up into pieces, dipping it into the egg and breadcrumbs, and frying it all up. The last thing that I wanted to make for the Shabbat dinner is something called Chibureki. It's basically a type of appetizer that we eat on the Jewish holiday of Purim. You basically saute an onion and ground meat, season it with salt and black pepper and whatever else you want. I added in some coriander and cumin to here as well, and I mix everything up and wait until it's fully cooked through. And separately, I used egg roll wrappers to wrap them all in the shape of a triangle. I do have a recipe up on my channel of how I made this from scratch, and it comes out absolutely delicious also. I'll have that video linked up above and below for you as well. To cook these chibureki, you just place them into some hot oil and fry them on both sides. This does cook very quickly because everything is cooked through on the inside. You're simply browning the outer layer of the egg roll wrappers. At this point, the ribs are done cooking. They're perfectly flaky and just fall off the bone. As you can see, I just take a spoon and ladle on the juice from the bottom of the pan and place it all over on the top of the ribs. And this was just so good. Everything else is ready for Shabbat. I'll be showing you all of the things that are finally cooked. Well, that's it. That's how I managed on a Friday when I am home. If you would like to see all of my salads and how I made that, I have that in a separate video that was just recently released. I'll have it linked up above and below if you are interested. There are some really yummy salads, so don't forget to go and check that out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and I'll see you all next time. Shabbat Shalom from my family to yours.